Welcome to the village of Lonsdale, set in a gorge carved into the limestone walls by the rambling Salmon River. This is a very popular spot for painters and photographers, a very picturesque area right in the heart of Tyendinaga Township. Speaking of Tyendinaga, this township was named after Chief Joseph Brant, whose native name was Tyendinaga. This whole township was assigned to the Mohawks at the end of the Revolutionary War by the British in recognition of their support during that war. Originally, the entire township was granted to the Mohawks. However, progressively over the years, portions were ceded to the government and from them to the white settlers. The final 17,000 acres in the southern part of this township remains the land of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, while the northern portions now form the current township of Tyendinaga. The first attraction for settlers in this area was, of course, the Salmon River, with its potential for sawmills, grist mills, woolen mills, and that's the basis of settlement. The river provided the highway for moving the logs, which were cut to the north of here, to the sawmills in the south. And with the sawmills and the arrival of settlers, the farms grew up, and that of course called for the grist mills and the woolen mills. And all of this came together to form a community. And progressively through the 1840s, it grew with blacksmiths and general stores, saddlery, shoemakers, a whole range of tradesmen came here to carry out their activities supported by the lumber and by the agriculture around here. On the strength of the agriculture and the lumber, of course, the population here grew rather rapidly. In the 1860s, it reached 7,000 people, which at that time made Tyendinaga larger than the town of Belleville. However, the subsequent decades were less favorable to the township of Tyendinaga, with the decline in the lumber industry and a number of marginal farms being abandoned. The population actually started to drop. In 1900, there were just 4,000 people here. By 1940, it was down to 2,000 people. Currently, the township has about 4,200 people, and I might say they're very proud of their rural residential atmosphere that this township provides to them. Turning now to the village of Lonsdale, it followed a path of settlement quite similar to other areas, in that the powerful river provided the means for the logs to come from the north, and of course the farmlands around here provided the agricultural basis. The first settlers here were the Lazier family. Now, they came out of New York State, where they had mills and farms, and after the Revolutionary War they came north. They first of all to Prince Edward County, not that far from here, and then they came right to this spot here, and they built their first grist mill right here on the Salmon River. A few years later, other family members built a woolen mill just on the other side of this river, and subsequently sawmills were developed both here and further down the river towards Shannonville. The 1800s were very good years for development here, as I mentioned, with the farms, with the lumbering, with the tradesmen coming in, the blacksmiths, the leather workers, the shoemakers. Ultimately, 2 churches were established here, and of course a school was built. So you had a thriving community through the middle of the 1800s. However, the latter half, of course, proved less favorable with the loss of the forests and the decline in agriculture, and many of the tradesmen in the village could no longer find employment, so they closed. The woolen mill, just across the river behind, burned in 1904, and progressively the village declined to the current situation that we see today. However, what we do see today is a very, very pretty sight, with the old mill here, the ruins of other mills, the old bridges going across the rivers, and of course the rushing river. It's a beautiful spot to stop on your road trip, take a walk, take a look around at this very historic spot. You can imagine the days when these mills were in full operation, and the wagons and the horses and the people. It's a very interesting and a very beautiful spot, and I might add, in the springtime it is bedecked with lilacs. It's very beautiful, and of course in the fall the colors of the trees make it a very interesting spot to stop and take in as you tour the treasures of Tyendinaga.